How you guys doing? This is very important too in reference to Ronald Ray and his activity of his tricks and his drug enforcement agents and his FBI agents that he was tied with in Chicago and other cities in California. The motherfuckers that kidnapped me. I had nothing to do with Ronald Ray or his activities. They said Ronald Ray died or we got murdered in a drug deal gone bad or something over on 21st Street or something. It was on Fox News and it was on some other news networks or something. I had nothing to do with Ronald Ray. I don't do drugs. I don't get involved in drugs. I don't hang out with people that do drugs. Everybody knows that. But this Lieutenant Flack, I guess he's a satellite controller, and he was working with Robert Ray, and they were supposedly hunting down the murderer of Ronald Ray or something. I never hung out with Robert Ray. Never hung out with Ronald Ray. I was at the house or the apartment 302 Summit. The last time Ronald Ray had called Mary Lou Palmer, he called on my phone. And I handed the phone to Mary Lou Palmer. Said Ronald wanted to talk to you. He kept trying to bum money off of her. She was like, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Sorry, I don't know. Talk to you later. Because she was laying down sleeping. And Ronald Ray kept saying he wanted to talk to her. She handed me back the phone saying she was done talking. And I was like, she said she's done talking. He said, no, let me talk to her again. So I was like, he wanted to talk to you again. It's all recorded, motherfuckers. It's recorded at the phone company, too. But this satellite man just communicated saying he fucked up my teeth because of Ronald Ray getting murdered in a drug deal. I don't have nothing to do with drugs. I don't know who his drug supplier was, but there was a drug person that Ronald Ray was involved with that worked in the Indianapolis Police Department or something named Josh. Josh was Ronald Ray's black boyfriend or gay boyfriend or his sponsor or something. I don't know. I don't have nothing to do with none of them. I never hung around the Ray family at all. These people kidnapped me from California. They have records of Ronald Ray calling out to California, trying to force me to come back to Indianapolis. You know, I talk to Francis every day or every couple days or, once a week or something when I was in California. Those phone calls are recorded too, dumbass. But in reference to Ronald Ray and him picking fights with me and trying to murder me, and he threatened to stab me inside the house at Francis's house, and he kept pointing his finger in my face like this. Ronald Ray did. Like trying to get up close because he lost his apartment over in Connorsville or Crothersville, which is west or something. Which I had nothing to do with that either. Had nothing to do with the motherfucker. And he's one of the child molesters that tried to molest me when I was little. But I didn't bring that up. Didn't have nothing to say about it. Didn't have nothing to do with him. He kept picking on me. But I didn't have nothing to do with his death or his murder or him faking his death and the FBI conspiring with him when he faked his death or something. I have nothing to do with nobody. Do you understand that? And the Ray family or anybody's drug problems or any government fucking problems. And then Ronald Ray and this sergeant man showed up at 302 Summit and accused me of being this photograph that this sergeant obviously had altered a picture of a man with fake front teeth, or he had gaps in his teeth. And I even told him, I said, he knocked on the door, he called me on the phone, and he said, he wants you to help him. I was like, help you with what? I don't have nothing to do with nobody. Because I knew he was tied in with some faggot shit. And he's a pedophile or he's some government FBI faggot. Which my mother probably already sued that dirty faggot back in the 80s. When they had kidnapped me the last time, this motherfucker was trying to find a way to sneak into my life. And he was probably tied in with Frank Sinatra. But, I didn't mention all the things that Ronald Ray tried to do to me. I just kept it quiet, just didn't have nothing to do with it. But then the sergeant and Ronald Ray tried to call me crazy. because Ronald Ray fucked up my E-machine computer. And I was like, what happened to that? Or whatever. Because Ronald Ray had lost his apartment and he lost his job. So then, I was staying over in Francis's basement. And he wanted to steal the basement. He wanted to steal my room where I was at. Because they forced me to come back from California. They kidnapped me, literally. You know that, right? It's on documents they fabricated, made up shit, stole my fucking money out of my account in California. And they tried to force me to come back here. My mother had restraining orders against the Ray family. And against the FBI and the CIA. And against senators in Indiana and in some other cities and states. And political families. Now don't forget, my mother was a widow. And I was by myself. I'm no child of my mother. But my mother died in like 93. These people kidnapped me, held me hostage in Indiana. Then I went back out to California. Then they blocked me from my mother and father's property. Then I came back. Then I had to go back out again. I went to UCLA then too. These people never had nothing to do with none of the motherfuckers. But this Lieutenant Flack needs to get put on trial for teeth mutilations and accusations. And if Robert Ray or Ronald Ray ever made up slander on me, they can go to prison. They ever try to call me crazy, they can go to prison. I don't have nothing to do with nobody's shit. The man that damaged my teeth, no matter who the fuck they are, they have lied, fabricated, and they violated restraining orders. And this Lieutenant Flack and this sergeant man, or these senators, must be charged for human trafficking crimes. And every fucking one of them that stole any of my sperm must get fucking arrested. I am not allowed to date any of these types of people's daughters. It even clearly states on treasury documents and royal documents that I am not allowed to date these types of people's daughters. I have to date a certain class of females that come from a certain amount of wealth, a certain type of education, and a certain type of accomplishments. I'm not allowed to date girls that don't have certain accomplishments. I'm not allowed to date girls that don't have a certain amount of education. I'm not allowed to hang out with people that do certain things. I don't date girls that do drugs either. Everything is on guidelines in reference to my mother and father. This government man, I'm not gay either. So this government man trying to make up faggot shit, the government man goes to jail. The activities of these people and Ronald Ray and his government agents, they hit me in the throat. Ronald Ray and his FBI buddies and drug enforcement buddies and Josh and Sergeant Hill or Kevin Kraft or John Showman or all these other senators, all of them ganging up on me, all of them slandering my character. I've never had nothing to do with none of these Germans. And most of them are gay. I don't have nothing to do with them. All these people that slandered my character must get arrested and interrogated on their connections and who they are and why they have harassed me, why they stole sperm, why they've been stealing my money. And there was even a report, or somebody had tried to communicate, that the man that kidnapped me from California had ran out of monies that he had stolen from one of my mother's properties in Indianapolis. That man has to get arrested. Any evidence of that man's identity that the government is covering up. And, every time they make me mention this Sergeant Hill, that motherfucker hits me in the teeth. They just hit me in the teeth right there. Sergeant Hill does not own people's teeth in America. Your identities, government man, that you people have used, you're stuck with those names. And you go to prison on those names too, government man. I'm not your child and I'm not your race. And you don't outrank me in American government. We need the information of what my ranking is in the American government in reference to land ownership, corporation ownership, and protection status against government people. That has to be in the public news, in the media, so those politicians can go to prison for treason.